A very good evening, everyone. So, here we are with the first class of National Teachers Eligibility Test Series. Today, we are going to deal with the first chapter, and that is teaching and training. So, under teaching and training, the contents are teaching concepts. We are going to learn about the objectives, levels of teaching, characteristics, and basic requirements. Apart from that, the teaching methods, new methods of teaching, utilization of basic teaching and basic skills of teaching, understanding the learner's characteristics, factors affecting teaching related to teacher, learner, then support material, instructional facilities, learning environment, and institution, methods of clinical teaching or bedside teaching, and all the learning styles, the new and the old. These are the main topics which we are going to deal with in the first chapter. So basically, we will start with what you mean by teaching. Basically, teaching is all about sharing knowledge, skills, and values with the learners. It's more than just passing along information. It's about students learn and grow in their lives. And a teacher uses different strategies actually to make learning exciting and meaningful. So, teacher inspires students to keep learning throughout their lives. Teaching is a lively and interesting process. It's about sharing knowledge, sharing skills, attitudes, and values with those who want to learn. And teachers' activities are to always make sure that the learning happens within the student community. And when we talk about teaching, teaching is a complex process that brings a socially desirable behavioral change in a person. May it be a traditional concept or may it be the modern concept. In traditional concept, teaching is an art of or act of imparting instructions to the learners in a classroom situation. But in this particular era, in a modern concept, teaching is to cause the pupil or the student to learn and acquire the desired knowledge, acquire the desired skill, and also all the desirable ways of living in the society. Teaching is a part of teaching learning process, and it is required to bring specific changes in a person according to the need of its society and environment in which the student is living. So teaching is not an act of act as a dynamic in nature. So it is called as a process. Okay. So today we'll just see few of the important objectives of teaching initially. So talking about the objective of learning, objectives of teaching, objectives of learning. Basically, what do we have to understand? So remember that whenever we talk about the objectives of learning, it's basically to impart knowledge and information to the students, to impart knowledge and information to the students, to develop a critical thinking and problem solving skills, to foster a love for learning and instill a sense of curiosity, and to promote the overall development of the students. Okay, these are the objectives of learning. When we talk about the objectives of teaching as such, it is to bring desired changes in the students, to shape behavior and conduct, acquisition of knowledge, to improve the learning skills of students, formation of belief, and to provide a social and efficient member of society. Now, we all know that every teacher has a goal when they teach, right? Now, these are the outcomes they hope to achieve whenever they start teaching in a classroom. Now, when we talk about teaching in the classroom, it happens in basically three domains, okay, or three areas. One is known as a cognitive domain. Second one is known as an affective domain. A cognitive, an affective, and a psychomotor domain. Cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. What is a cognitive domain? Now, this is one which is all about gaining knowledge and understanding things. Okay, here the main goal is about remembering the fact, figuring out the ideas, and solving problem. Okay, so this is what happens in the classroom. This is all about gaining knowledge and understanding things. When we talk about affective domain, okay, affecting domain, this area focuses on the feelings and the values. What the teacher aims in this particular domain is to help the students feel positively about the learning, respect others, and take responsibility for their action. And lastly, we have a psychomotor domain. Now, this particular domain is a part about physical skills and coordination. Objectives including my probably writing neatly, drawing well, or knowing how to use different tools. In our area of teaching, it is all about conducting a test or doing an experiment. Okay, all these are going to come under the psychomotor domain. Now, coming to the aims of teaching. So, talking about the aim of teaching, teaching means to what I have already mentioned, that is to bring changes in the behavior of students, right? Second one, to improve the learning skills of students, shaping the behavior and conduct of the students, then instruction, that is acquisition of the knowledge, as well as formation of belief. These are basically the aim of teaching. Coming to the levels of teaching, which is quite an important one. So talking about levels of teaching, we have three kind of levels. One is a memory level, second one an understanding level, and third one a reflective level. Okay, memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. So the memory level can also be called as a thoughtless teaching. Thoughtless teaching. It's all about mugging up. That means at this particular level, the learning means remembering any kind of fact and information. A simplest form of learning, which we all did in our school days. Not to think much, not to assess much, but just go to go to the classes and then take on whatever the teacher is teaching us and then mug it up. That is all about the memory level. Basically, focus on memorization and then recalling whatever we have learned or by hearted. That is about the memory level. Coming to the understanding level, the another name for understanding level is thoughtful. Okay, thoughtful teaching. Okay, thoughtful teaching, in which the emphasis is on the conceptual understanding. Okay, here the students just don't memorize, they try to get the meaning behind whatever they are going to learn. This includes probably the explaining the ideas, applying them in a new situation, so that a critical thinking happens over here. Lastly, we have uh, the highest level of teaching, and that is a reflective level. Now, reflective level is otherwise known as a upper thoughtful level. Upper thoughtful level. Okay, in this particular level, dives a little more deeper. That students think critically and then they are going to solve the problems on their own. This is the most advanced stage where the learners analyze everything. See, at this stage, all the creativity in the student will shine up. Okay, probably in any kind of projects or research topics. Research topics in which they are more curious about. Okay, now with this particular level, that is a reflective level, the student will be able to build themselves at a higher. Okay, the order of thinking skills, so the students can evaluate and reflect on their experiences. Now, with that, this particular levels of teaching are together. Okay, we can call it to be Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy are quite important. So Bloom's taxonomy, I'll just give you an introduction. It's basically a framework for categorizing the educational goals. All the ones which I have just mentioned about the domains as well as the levels of teaching, everything together comes under the Bloom's taxonomy. The levels of knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Okay, all this together comes under the teaching levels of teaching, and that too we call it to be Bloom's taxonomy. Just keep that in mind. Next one is basically the characteristics of teaching. So talking about the characteristics of effective teaching. Okay, so what makes a teacher effective? So effective teaching is characterized by several key attributes. We'll go one by one. So basically, clear communication of learning goals. Basically, there should be a clarity, right? There should be a clarity. A great teacher explains things in a way that's way easy to understand, so everyone knows what's going on. Effective instructional strategies should be there. Then there's going to be provision of feedback to the students, promotion of a positive learning environment, and adaptability to the needs of individual students. Okay, so basically, a teacher should be able to keep the students engaged. See, the teacher keeps the students excited by using fun methods and ask for participation. A good teacher, um, they can actually bring about a little curiosity in the students about the learning, and also not only feedback and adaptability to the students' needs, but there is one more thing which is very much important, and that is assessment. So I'll just give you 5 important things which you have to understand regarding the characteristic of effective learning. So first one is basically clarity. Okay, clarity, so that whatever the teacher is teaching, everyone should understand. Number one. Second one, engagement. To keep the class engaged in whatever is going on around the class. Third one, adaptability. Adaptability. A good teacher change up the lessons based on whatever the students' needs are there. Sometimes some students can understand a fluent class which is going on, or little, the class when it is going to be in a little high tempo or a speed. But some students, they do not. They need to be told repeatedly whatever is the topic about. So according to it, the teacher is going to adapt themselves. Then fourth one is going to be assessment. Giving regular feedback. Okay, basically it helps both the students as well as the teachers to see the progress and the adjust if at all it is needed. And lastly, we have support. So what do you mean by of support? Here, the support which we are meaning is both emotional support as well as academic help. Because when a teacher gives an emotional support as well as an academic help, that creates a warm classroom. Okay, there is going to be a vibe where the learners feel safe expressing their ideas and taking chances. These are basically the characteristics of effective teaching. Okay, so with this, one more thing which I want to tell you is about the 6 steps of teaching. Okay, 6 steps of teaching, quite an important one. Just keep that in your mind. So whenever we talk about 6 steps of teaching, first one is preparation. Preparation. Second one is presentation. Preparation, presentation. Third one, comparison. Fourth one, generalization. Fifth one, application. And lastly, evaluation. Keep these steps in mind. These are the 6 steps of teaching: preparation, presentation, comparison, generalization, application, and evaluation. These are the 6 steps of teaching, and they are quite important. So next one, we are going to deal with the basic requirements of teaching, basic requirements of effective teaching. Okay, coming to the basic requirements of effective teaching, there are subject mastery. We need, that is, mastery of the subject matter, then understanding of the pedagogical techniques, that is the teaching techniques. Next one, ability to engage the students and motivate them to learn, patience and empathy towards the students, and commitment to continuous professional development. Okay, these are the basic requirements. Apart from that, let me make it a little more clear. A teacher should be having different intervenable variables, that is, intervening variables like strategies, how to teach and all that. Then professionalism is very much important. A suitable environment, a basic requirement of effective teaching, that is a very important thing. A proper student teacher student relationship, students discipline, teachers devotion to teaching, and a student's devotion to learning. These are the 7 important things which are required, apart from that which I have mentioned already: the subject mastery, teaching method, ability to engage and motivate, patience, empathy, and professional growth. Apart from that, the strategies which the teacher uses in the classroom, the professionalism, a suitable environment, teacher student relationship, students discipline, teachers devotion to the teaching, and students devotion to learning. These are the basic requirements for a effective teaching. Okay, so apart from that, there are basic fundamentals for effective teaching. Let me tell you what are the basic fundamentals, which we have already mentioned. Number one is a subject mastery, right? So knowledge of the subject matter. Uh, that is, teachers must have a deep understanding of the content, whatever they are going to teach. Why they should have a deep understanding of the content, so that they can convey whatever their information is there effectively to the students. Or if the student is asking any question, they can answer it properly so that the student understands. The pedagogical skills or the pedagogical expertise, knowledge of teaching methodologies and strategies is very crucial for the designing lessons that can meet the learning objective. See, before we go in for a class, we have to have an annual plan. Not only annual teaching plan, but we need to divide the topics and have a learning objectives, right? Teaching objectives and learning objectives class wise. So basically, when we know how we have a knowledge about the teaching methodologies as well as the strategies, that will help us to make a proper learning objective, and that will help in finding out ways to have a proper learning styles. Then coming to the communication skills. So effective communication is very much important, both verbal and non-verbal. Very much important for delivering the content clearly and engaging the students. The next one, empathy and patience. So talking about the empathy and patience, the teacher must be empathetic as well as the teacher should be patient enough. Why? Because the students are different, right? The different students faces different challenges. So that becomes a teacher's duty to provide the support whatever the student needs to overcome them. And for that, empathy and patience is very much required for a student, for a teacher. And continuous learning, which will help in the professional growth. So, teacher's profession requires ongoing professional development. Why do we need it? So that we stay updated with all the new teaching strategies, with all the teaching technologies, and whatever changes and happens in the curriculum. In a day-to-day basis, there are going to be a lot of changes that is happening to the curriculum, right? So, if the teacher is keeping herself or himself updated with whatever new things are going on, it is going to help the teacher in providing a better information to the students, and that is going to help the students to perform well. Next, we are going to go into the teaching methods. So, we have a traditional method as well as we are going to have new methods of approach. So, traditional teaching we all know, right? That is going to be the lecture method, discussion method, demonstration method, and lastly, we have something called a Socratic method. Just tell you, we have lecture method. So, what is basically lecture method? The lecture method is one of the oldest and the most widely used teaching methods. It involves the teacher delivering the verbal presentation to a large group of students. That is usually what happens with what we have gone through during our school days. Okay, so basically, what is the advantage of it? Basically, it allows the teacher to cover a large amount of material in a limited time. Okay, and what is the disadvantage or limitation which we can say? Uh, that becomes a passive one, monotonous, right? Because only one person is talking and the students are basically the listeners. There is no opportunity for interaction or engagement over here. Next one, we have a discussion method. So, next is discussion method. So, talking about the discussion method, this is a two-way communication between a teacher and the student. So, probably teacher will ask a question or will present a problem, and the student will participate by sharing their thoughts and ideas. Just like what happens in our clinical discussions. So, this is going to help the student in promoting critical thinking, enhancing communication skills, and allows the students to learn from each other. What is going to be limitation? Because it is time consuming, right? And may not cover all the materials as a lecture. And basically, not all students can open up, and all students may feel may not feel comfortable participating. That is just a mere limitation of discussion method. Next one, we have a demonstration. A demonstration method. Demonstration method means teacher will show the students how to perform a task process. This is often used in subjects like science, arts, and then for us, if it all talk about going to perform a suturing or going to do a clinical examination, how to perform a pap smear, all that has been demonstrated to and shown to the student. Okay, over here, a practical skill is very much essential. And this particular demonstration is going to help the student have a proper visual and hands-on learning purpose, learning experience. And this is going to make the student understand any particular complex concepts. But one important thing is demonstration cannot happen in a large group, right? So there is a basic, a little limitation around it, because it can be challenging to manage a large group and the students may not retain the information without sufficient practice. And lastly, we have one more, and that is Socratic method. The Socratic method involves a teaching asking a series of questions to the student. Okay, and finally the student has to come to a conclusion and deeper understanding. Uh, Basically, it is a form of guided inquiry, okay, where the teacher facilitates critical thinking through questioning. Teacher is going to ask you, many questions, not giving answers at that point of time. The finding out answer is upon the student, so that student thinks deeper and finds a conclusion. And this method encourages deep thinking, helps students develop their reasoning skills, and promote active learning. And one particular limitation for this Socratic method is it requires the students to be highly engaged, and not all the topics will be good enough or suitable to this particular method. So basically, these are the 4 methods for traditional teaching. Okay, traditional teaching. Now we are going to learn about the new teaching methods. So talking about the new methods of teaching or the new approach of teaching, see, with advent, technology, globalization, and deeper understanding of learning process, there have been new teaching methods have emerged, right? So one by one, we'll see the first one being the interactive teaching lesson techniques. Okay, interactive teaching methods. So over here, basically what happens, this method encourages students to actively participate and interact during the lessons. So during the lessons, they are going to interact with each other as well as the class. Over here, what is going to happen? We are going to have either a student or teacher-student interaction, okay, that involves a direct interaction between the teacher and the student. So probably teacher is going to pose a question, encourage the discussion, and also will provide a feedback. And that will help in fostering a dynamic learning environment. Then there can be a peer collaboration or student-to-student interaction. So over here, students are encouraged to collaborate with their peers or share ideas and learn from each other. Then use of audio visuals and hands-on demonstration. Okay, audio visuals and hands-on demonstration. See, we should accept the fact that with the new ideas which have come or the new technologies which has come, it has made a little more easier for the students to understand the difficult concepts. Okay, so these tools can enhance understanding and also retention of the information. All the abstract concepts and all that which are there, they can make it more concrete and relatable. Then exercises and activities. See, exercise and activities, when we talk about, they are basically group projects. Sorry, they are basically group projects, or we can say it can be even individual assignments also. Basically, we give it in a group projects, or it can be individual assignments. So what happens? They're going to provide opportunities for the students to apply whatever they have learned, and then they're going to get a feedback. Then we have brainstorming. So talking about brainstorming, that is a group activity where the students are encouraged to come up with many ideas. See, one particular a specific topic will be given, and for this specific topic, if it all 10 students are there, 10 students will be having, probably they might be having 10 different ideas, okay, with which they are going to have a deeper understanding of the concept. So that is about brainstorming, and it happens as a group activity. Then we have a concept mapping. So this involves drawing a diagram that represents relationship between different concepts. Here, what happens is the student understands the connections between various ideas. Okay, various ideas they have. See, there are a lot many theoretical concepts that is going on around one particular topic. So basically, a student will be having a diagram which represents that all these concepts to one particular core. That is a concept mapping. Okay. Apart from that, we have innovative teaching techniques. So talking about the innovative teaching techniques, we have the virtual reality. So virtual reality technology, See, using a virtual reality technology can provide an immense learning experience, and also basically these can make a complex concepts easier to understand. As what I was just telling for the audio, visual, and all that. Okay, they can actually make it a little more easier. Apart from that, we have artificial intelligence in the education. See, the AI can personalize learning experience based on each and every student's need. Then we have a blended learning. See, blended learning combines the online as well as the face to face. Basically, what happens is this particular approach combines the traditional face to face instruction with the online learning method. Okay. Apart from that, we have project based and inquiry based learning. Okay, project based and inquiry based learning. Talking about the project based learning, the students gain knowledge and skills by working for a extended period of time. Okay, probably what they do is to investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and a complex question or a problem or a challenge which the teacher has given to them. That is about the project based learning. If at all we talk about the inquiry based learning, here this particular learning technique will encourage the student to ask questions and seek answers. Okay, basically what happens is we are going to foster their curiosity and their independence. Okay, that is what happens in case of a project based learning. Apart from that, we have few other modern techniques. One by one we'll see. The first one is a jigsaw method. Okay, a jigsaw method. So talking about a jigsaw method, this is basically a cooperative learning. So here this cooperative learning strategy involves the students working in a small groups. Okay, where see each person or each student will be responsible for learning and teaching a specific topic. So 10 students are there. We're going to give 10 topics and they're going to learn and come and then they teach each other. That is a jigsaw topic or jigsaw method. Then we have a flipped classroom. See, in a flipped classroom, we have a traditional teaching roles are reversed. So basically what we used to do, we used to have a proper class to class teaching in the or face to face teaching in the classes, and then we used to go home and do the homework. But here it's just the opposite of it. Students will first study the material independently, usually through video lectures or reading assignments, and then we'll come to the class to engage in discussions, problem solving, or the collaborative projects. Okay, that is about the flipped classroom. Then we have cloud computing. See, that is also a collaborative learning tools. With respect to that, there is something called a gamification. Okay, gamification. See, gamification basically involves applying a game design elements in a non-game context, such as a classroom, to enhance the student engagement and motivation. Here there can be points or badges, leaderboards, and challenges. All these are being blended into the teaching so that it makes the teaching a little more fun and engaging. Okay, so that we can increase the students motivation and also provide immediate feedback. Okay, that is a little more modernized technique that can happen. Apart from that, the project based learning which we were talking a bit before, even that also comes under the modern method itself. Okay, a little more in detail we'll talk. See, the project based learning involves the student working on a project, right? That to an over an extended period, which we have already mentioned. They are going to solve the real world problems, we can say, putting them in a OPD. Okay, that will give the student have to face a real world problem or challenges, and the student is going to gain knowledge and skills by exploring, investigating, as well as solving a problem. Unless and until they come into the field, they do not understand how to do a proper case taking, or how the prescription has been going on, or how a clinical examination is done. Unless and until we push them over there, that does not happen. Inquiry based learning, and that is also they're going to focus on students questions, the ideas and observations. Any if at all they are going to investigate a kind of a cause of a historical event. Basically they're going to formulate, gather, analyze the evidence and present their findings. Basically a patient has been just given to them in the clinical bedside. They have to find out, they have to not take the entire case taking, find out the proper solution. Okay, they are going to inquire to the patient about the past history or history of illnesses, the past history, the family history, everything. They are going to write it down, and then they're going to find out a solution. Okay, these are about the modern techniques. Apart from that, we have few other, we call it to be hybrid learning. Okay, hybrid learning. What exactly is a hybrid learning? See, hybrid learning is similar to the blended learning. Okay, I'll just tell you what are both. See, blended learning combines a traditional face-to-face instruction with the online learning activities. Okay, go to be together. A face-to-face interaction instructions also will be given, plus online activities also is going to be given. So similar to that, we have something called a hybrid learning. Okay, here what happens is there is going to be mix of in-person and remote learning. So probably a student will attend some classes physically and others online. Now, the most important example which we can say is during the time of COVID-19 pandemic, the type of classes that were going on, they are known as the hybrid learning. Apart from that, we have a personalized learning too. See, personalized learning means what? It tailors instructions to individual needs, individual strengths, individual interest of each student. See, basically, it involves the use of technology. Why do we need our technology? That is to create adaptive learning methods or an adaptive learning paths so that the students' progress is effectively happening. So these were the few learning methods in which we have learned about the old traditional one, which includes lecture, discussion, demonstration, and Socratic method. And then we have the interactive teaching methods, the innovative teaching methods, the project-based and inquiry-based methods, and the few other modern techniques. Next in the row, we are going to learn about the utilization of basic skills. Okay, in case of utilization of basic skills, here we have few foundation of basic teaching first. See, basic teaching refers to foundational principles and practices that guide the instructional processes. Basically, there are few principles. Okay, and these principles are rooted in the educational psychology, learning theories, and the classroom management strategies. So whenever there is an effective teaching, it begins with a clear understanding of the elements which I'm going to say. And what are the elements over here? That is understanding the learning theories. Understanding the learning theories. Next one, setting clear objectives. We have lesson planning. Lesson planning. We have classroom management. And lastly, assessment and feedback. Assessment and feedback. These are basically the foundation of a basic teaching. Okay, so one by one we will see. See, understanding the learning theories, learning theories. What we mean is that, see, educators or teachers must be very familiar with various learning theories, right? See, the behaviorism, the constructivism, the cognitivism. All these are very much important for a student to understand. Then next is setting clear objectives. So talking about the setting clear objectives is an effective first step for the effective teaching. Here, what we are going to do is we are going to measure the learning objectives. See, these objectives basically guide the lesson planning and will ensure that both the teacher and the student have a shared understanding of the expected outcomes. Okay, we will get to know that at the end of the this particular class, what and all other things which the student is supposed to learn and is supposed to perform or so on. Next one, a proper lesson planning. So a lesson planning means what? There is a very well structured lesson plan. Basically a blueprint of the effective teaching. What are the sequence of activities, the instructional strategies, the assessment methods that will be used to achieve the learning objective. All this will be under the lesson planning. See, the effective learning planning also includes differential strategies. Okay, because see, there are going to be diverse needs of students, right? With the help of these lesson planning, it will be very easy for the student to understand. Then we have a classroom management. See, talking about a classroom management, basically it means to create a positive and a productive classroom environment. Okay, so that a proper effective teaching is happening. See, probably when we talk about a classroom management, it will involve an establishing clear rules and routines, promote positive behavior, addressing misbehavior promptly and fairly. So, a teacher is teaching in the class and the students are talking to themselves. That does not happen, right? So, all those kind of misbehaviors are supposed to be promptly, pointed out, and fairly we have to treat them. Okay, next is the assessment and feedback. See, assessment is a very critical component of teaching process. It involves the evaluating the students' progress, right, towards the learning objective. So once we make a lesson plan, once we have all the objectives laid out, at the end of the class, we require to know whether the student has understood it, right? So that how are we going to understand? That is by evaluating. So it involves involves evaluating students' progress towards the learning objective. Okay, probably through a formative and a summative assessment. In the upcoming classes, we'll be getting to know what is a formative and summative. Just a brief, I'll just tell you. As the classes goes on, one topic is over, we assess the student. That is a formative assessment. But at the end of all the topics gets over, that is the end of the year. Probably we have a semester exam and the model examinations and all, right? Then it all comes under the summative assessment. And by talking about feedback, providing timely and constructive feedback. The constructive feedback is very much important because they are going to help the students understand their strength and areas for improvement. Okay. Now let us see about the basic skills which are important for teaching. See, basic skills are specific competencies that the student, that the teacher should use to facilitate a learning. Okay. Now we have a subject expertise. So, talking about a subject expertise, a teacher must have a thorough understanding of the subject, whatever they are going to teach. Because why? Because they are going to ensure accuracy and clarity in the instruction what they are going to give the students. Next one, we have a lesson planning. So, what is a lesson planning? We have already mentioned, right? That involves creating structured plans with align in the learning objectives. Classroom management, already we have discussed. Explicit instructions. See, explicit instruction is clear and understandable communication, very much crucial for the student. Because unless and until we have a clarity on what we are telling, okay, that becomes important, right? So clear and understandable communication is crucial for students' comprehension. Probably whenever we are going to deal with some kind of complex concepts like mayasam in homeopathy, okay, at that point of time, the instructions which we're going to give to students are very much important because the way we teach mayasam to them is how they are going to carry it forward. Then open-ended questioning. That is asking questions that require more than a yes or no. Okay, we don't have to always have an yes or no answers from the student. Probably the student should think, they have to gauge the understanding and also promote discussion. That kind of questions are supposed to be asked during the classroom. Next one, an active listening. See, the students are going to listen to whatever the teacher is going to teach. But apart from that, when we are going to have a discussion in the classroom, it is a duty of the teacher also to listen to whatever the students are going to tell. Because see, being an engaged participant in the conversations with the students, that will show you that okay, we are also taking interest in whatever they are going to tell. And if at all there is a point where the students are going in a wrong direction, at that point of time itself we can tell the student that okay, this is not the one. We can put some other questions also, so that there is going to be further discussions or further information to find out for the students. Then differentiation. See, any kind of adjusting the teaching methods or contents and assessment to meet the diverse needs of the students, very much important, because with which we are going to cater to the different learning styles and abilities. Okay. Now, apart from that, there are going to be questioning. Already I've mentioned about questioning. I'll just give you a little more in detail. See, when we talk about the skills what are needed for the base teachers, we need instructional skills in which a proper questioning, a proper clear and concise explanation is very much important. Demonstration is quite a powerful tool for showing the students how to apply the real concepts in a real life situation. Then we have something called a scaffolding. Okay. Scaffolding. See, scaffolding is nothing but providing a temporary support to the student as they learn a new concept or skill. See, this particular, it's just like the when we start learning a cycle, someone catches it from behind, and slowly when we learn it, the support has been removed. In the same way, when a teacher is going to give a new concept to the student, a teacher first it might probably help you a bit, just like in a physiology lab. Okay, a student gets scared for pricking the finger, right? So probably the first time the teacher will help them. And finally, the student will understand that, okay, this can be done. And then they're going to remove the temporary support. Just like that. We call it to be scaffolding. And then differentiation, which I have already mentioned, diverse needs of students. So teacher can differentiate the content, process, and product. And a learning environment based on the student's readiness level, the interest, and the learning profiles. Apart from that, the interpersonal skills like proper communication, empathy, collaboration, and conflict resolution. See, teachers must be very much skilled in resolving the conflict that can arise among the students. And effective conflict will resolute probably listening to all the parties, facilitating open dialogue, as well as helping the students find out a mutually acceptable solutions. Then organization skills, probably a time management, a record keeping, a classroom organization, and also for a basic teaching skill, a practical application of a basic teaching skill is also important. Like already we have just mentioned, I'll repeat it. There is a learning planning, lesson planning, then classroom management, instructional techniques, as well as the assessment and feedback. So whatever I have told in detail will come under these 7 points which is there on your screen. Okay, so with this we complete the utilization of the basic teaching and the basic skills of teaching. There are many more to go in the chapter 1. Hope you have understood whatever is being dealt now. Any doubts you can ask us in the chat group, or yeah, any questions are there, you can put it in the comment box. With that, I'll wind up for now. Do like, share, and subscribe so that you get the latest updates of the classes. Thank you and have a good night.